Welcome. I can't even say this is the Thriller Hours podcast no more because I have my host Kiara, my co-host Kiara with me now. So we'll say we'll name this podcast later. And today we're going to be talking about the book The Resort. It's a mystery thriller style type of book. But before we get into that, I want Kiara to kind of explain, her love for books and what got her into reading, and kind of give y'all, her backstory.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Jay. I am
Hmm.
so excited to be here. My name
For
is
sure.
Kiera. I am a fellow book talk content creator by the name of Key Book Babe on all my socials.
That's
I
right.
absolutely love to read. My preferred genre is thriller, mystery, horror, but I read across all the genres because I just love to read in general. I think what got me into reading was hooked on phonics. That's how I learned to read at like 3 years old. And from then,
Right.
it's like books, words, learning has ultimately been my peace and my quiet. So I am so grateful and honored that Jay asked me to join him as his co-host on
That's
this
right.
to be named podcast. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. But let's not keep the people long. Let's get into the prologue of The Resort. What did you think about the opening prologue with somebody having a knife in their vertebrae in the very first opening lines?
I loved it. I love when I can get into a mystery book and right
Right.
from the very beginning, it's already somebody has died. And now it's like, I know that I'm going to try to figure out who is this person because they're completely unnamed. But I could literally sense her terror, She's
Hmm.
being led away from the party with a
Right.
knife in her back. Like she can't even scream for help because nobody's going to see her. So I was just like, the prologue is what got me hooked onto this story. Absolutely.
Right, right, right. And like you say, she's kind of going away from the party. So somebody got her by, I ain't gonna say, how to say gunpoint. Somebody got her by
Yes,
knife point,
by knife
and they're
point
leading her. And when I was reading, it was kind of leading her to the beach, right? If I'm
to
not
the
mistaken, like
beach.
leading her to the water because they was about to like drown her. But
Yep.
we don't know who it was. And the author is not gonna give us
Nope.
the backstory of who the killer is right away. So that's the opening prologue, which was really, really, as she said, the water, it starts to fade and as it goes into black. And then I'm like, okay, so
You're
now we got
right.
to get into the book and kind of
Yes.
go more into it.
Yes. And like maybe this is like a flashback, but she's not really dead. But then when
Right.
it said fades to black, I was like, ooh, I think I know what that means.
Right, right, right. And we open up with chapter one. We open up with Cass before she meets her husband or whatever, Cass and Logan. We opening up she's having like a nightmare and
Yep.
going through it because she's seen a dead body, and I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? And
Yes.
something happened in her past. We obviously know right off the back something happened in her past. So what did you think about chapter one?
I loved it. I love that introduction to Cass. It's like introducing us to the fact that something's happening. She's hiding something from her husband.
Right,
You know what I mean? She has
right.
this nightmare. She wakes up. It's like there's a knife in her hand. There's blood everywhere. He's like, baby, what's going on? And she's like, nothing. So now we know whoever she's pretending to be, because she mentioned that in the chapter as
Right.
well. Like she took a different name. Like she's pretending to be someone else. He doesn't know everything. Now we got it in our heads that she is not who she says she is. And it made me wonder, is she the girl who drowned in the prologue? But I don't know because we don't got no clues.
Right, right. And I know I haven't read the book. I be thinking these authors be trying to throw us a okey doke. So I was like, maybe she's the one holding the knife, and maybe we might get somebody else's different perspective. I haven't gotten past the chapters that we said we was going to talk about, but she's kind of reliving her past, and I like the fact that that's what we opening up with. So we
Yeah.
know that she's done something wrong, right?
Yep.
We know that she's obviously seen somebody get killed or done the killing herself.
Yes.
The night before, what is it? Logan, the night before, he proposed to Cass.
He proposes to her, so that
Yeah,
makes the stakes even higher. You know what I mean? Because now you have a fiance. This is not just your boyfriend. This is your
yeah.
fiance, and you're hiding something from
Hiding key information. Right.
key information because she does not want him to know. The end of the first chapter, it ends with her getting that crazy note on her doorstep that says, I know who you are. So somebody on this island, this beautiful island in Thailand, knows exactly who she is and what she did. And I'm just thinking, was she killed to protect that secret? I mean, the prologue had somebody killing somebody. Is it that big of a secret? That's the first thing that was on my mind. So, yep.
Right. And then before the note, when he says they have like a secret mantra when he says forever us two.
Which I thought that was so beautiful. I
Yeah,
like that. That's cute.
that's
Yes,
a
I mean,
sweet
it's just
mantra. That's just nah,
I
nah,
like
nah, nah, nah.
that.
That type of stuff kind of stands out to you, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so this is their mantra. So is it really gonna be forever us two,
Us too.
forever? Kind of making
Yes.
sure like we throwing that out there as a
Yep.
tidbit that's maybe he might help her, or whatever. And then what I
Hmm.
realized is, matter of fact, we'll save that for the next chapter. And obviously, she said they moved there a year ago, and what is it, Kosang?
Yes. Yes.
It's called
Kosang, the
Kosang
song.
in
Yes.
Thailand. And this is the first author that I realized that I've read a book where it's not in either New York or it's not in like the States and stuff like that. So this taking place abroad has this whole mystery to itself. In
Yes.
itself, it's like a whole mystery because they're on this island, and you know how to murder mystery islands and stuff like that. So I thought that that was really a good scenery for her to kind of pitch to start her book.
And I think I'm really anticipating the cultural aspects of the book.
Mm-hmm.
I have this list where I keep track of the places that I've been based on the books that I've read, and I've never been to Thailand. So I'm really, really excited
Never.
to just see what the author is going to do with it because it feels like it's intentional, right? To set it in Thailand. I mean, you could
Right.
set it anywhere. Corruption, death happens anywhere, but you set it in the beautiful island in Thailand. So I'm really
Exactly.
looking forward to the landscapes, the culture,
Yeah.
seeing how they deal with murder. Is it different than the way we deal with it in the US? So I'm really
Right.
looking forward to that. Yep.
I understand. And let's not forget that she got the note, and the note like is somebody that knows who she really is. So that was like a good ending to chapter 1, and I was like, okay, she got me. She got me.
Yep.
This
She
this
got
was
me
a good
hooked
book.
because
This was a good book
she's
thus
away
far.
from home. Like her and her husband kind of escaped there. Who else is there? She doesn't.
Right.
If she knows anybody else, she doesn't say that she has family. We know she's running from something that she did in her past. So who is
Mm-hmm.
there that's sending her
That's him.
messages?
Mm-hmm.
I know who you are. It makes me think she must have done something bad that someone wants to get revenge for. Because it's just like, why are you threatening her? And
Right,
now
right.
she's worried. Like, shoot, somebody can see who I am. You know what I mean?
And now
Like
we
somebody
true.
knows.
That's true. And now we
Literally.
can move to chapter 2. We opening up with Brooke. So I know you wanted to talk about your POV since we opening up the
Yes.
chapter with Brooke.
Yes, it really surprised me that it was going to be dual point of view, but I think I should have known with the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the chapter headings have names. And
Right.
I'm usually not a big point of like multiple point of view person because I feel like what happens is the characters start getting mixed up, especially when their
Mm-hmm.
voices are not distinguishable between each other. But I
Right.
think the author did an amazing job at creating these very unique characters. Cass's voice is a little more hesitant, it's a little more insecure. And then we get Brooke, who is a social media influencer. So she's
Yep.
extremely confident, she's beautiful, she's sexy. And then we figure out in her point of view that she's also hiding something. There's
Yes.
something going on that she's not telling, and she's keeping her cards close to her chest. I
Right.
did see though that she befriended Cass,
Mm-hmm.
which it's like I wonder, are they actually friends? Is something going to happen between the two? They seem friends right now, but Brooke is definitely hiding something. But yes, I just wanted to comment on the fact I think the author did a wonderful job at distinguishing between the two voices, especially both women are young, they both live in Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
they both have secrets. Except as we go into both chapters, we can tell the difference between the two voices. So I think she did that very well. Yep.
Right. I like the different POVs, and I'm a just say a quick thing about that. It's like I like when she's talking, and as she's walking up, she sees Cass. So she's
Yes.
saying they like she sees Cass, like I see Cass over there with Logan.
Yep.
As we watching Cass's perspective, here comes Logan's perspective. It's almost like a vantage point. So now we
Yes.
switching it, and as boom, as she's going around, here comes Cass walking in, and it's
Yep.
kind of like, okay, this is what the author kind of wants us to see, because
Yep.
we know that Logan is walking up, and we know Cass is there, but we just heard what Cass was talking about, what she was feeling,
Exactly.
what she was thinking. So I like the fact that she definitely see that, but then we also know Brooke is a social media handler. She's a social media star. But then something happens. Something happens. While Brooke is kind of giving her little introduction, something kind of just jumps out right in it. And then she has a female visitor.
Yep.
She has a female visitor. And you can't explain what happens there?
Yeah, of course. So Brooke is chilling and she feels somebody watching her. She looks up and she sees somebody coming from the dive resort. She makes
Mm-hmm.
eye contact with this girl and it's kind of like, okay, but she's still looking at me. And we've all had
Right.
that feeling. You know, we make eye contact with somebody. It's just like, oh, okay, what's up? But she looks back, the girl is still looking at her. And she's just, and of course, Brooke is a social media influencer.
Right.
She's used to people coming up to her.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my gosh, I've seen you. But there's something different about this girl. It's the way that she is intensely
Yep.
staring at Brooke. And then she starts to head her way. She starts to come over. So she makes contact. She sees, I see you, you see me. And then she starts to head her way. And this was the part where Brooke got a little nervous because she showed a little vulnerability. Like, I'm a social media influencer, yes, but I'm also like, the person I am online is not the
Not the
same
same person. Yep.
person. You know what I mean? And she quickly tries to look away, and then here comes Neil
Is-
to the rescue. But I have a feeling that whoever that girl is, she's going to be very, very important to the story because it was just the author just made such emphasis on that. There's a girl, and she's looking for Brooke. So
And then we see that how she met Neil was through Cass and Logan after
exactly,
being dragged out by them. But like I say, she's really down. Like she's really, to me, she seems depressed. Like she feels
yes,
like people will laugh at her job, her, and what she does. People will frown upon her being a social media star. So she's not really, she likes the fact that she's a social media content creator or star, but also she just feels like people won't respect her enough in that space, like the space that all of them are in. They would
yes,
kind of like laugh at her job. So I thought that
yeah.
that was ill the
I
way they
thought
kind of
I
explained,
thought
like,
that was
mm-hmm,
because there's so many social influencers, and I feel like this is such an interesting perspective because we look at them and we just see them as, oh my gosh, they're so confident, it's so cool, we want to do that, and now we have this other perspective where she's cool, she's
right,
confident, but she's also afraid that people are going to judge her for her profession. Oh, it's too easy. Like, of
mm-hmm.
course, you just
It
take
don't
pictures.
take no, yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
thought that was really good depth that the author added to that character. It made her seem real because these are, like, I feel like social media influencers, they probably do go through these things. So,
Through these different phases.
and these different emotions and feeling like, yes, this is what I do for my job, but that don't mean I necessarily want to interact with people because I may not be the same. Like, this is just an image on a computer screen. It's different in real
Right,
life.
right,
So,
right.
yeah.
True, true. And then that kind of like summed up chapter 2. It was like Brooke explaining what she did, how she feels about herself and her job. Is there anything that we're missing from chapters 1 and 2 before we move on to chapter 3?
I would say there was something really interesting that happened in chapter 2. Brooke is talking about, she's going through her pictures and Neil happens to see some, I think, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? She's like editing some pictures and she talks about this particular picture that she took with Cass on top
Mm-hmm.
of like a mountain. And she makes a comment and she says something like, but I didn't tell him the real reason why I
I
wanted to
want
take
to.
a picture. And that seems like something very, very innocent. It's a picture. But it
Right.
already lets me know she is on this island for a reason. And the fact that Neil is trying to dig into her background. Like, why are you here? What did you do? And she
Right.
kind of says, well, I left college early, but that's she didn't really leave college. I mean, she left college early, but she didn't finish college
Finish.
early. She
Yeah.
left after a couple months, and now she's in Thailand. You know what I mean? Like, she expressed that she may be having monetary issues. You know what I mean? And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
thinking, so you're in Thailand, but you're a social media influencer. You took a picture on a mountain, and you're not telling him the real reason why. Red flags are going
All
off
over the place. All
all
over
over
the
the
place.
place. Because I'm like, who is this woman really? You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm like, okay, okay. But I do like that now we have the clear voice of Brooke and Cass.
Yeah.
And
It's
we can see that these
distinctful.
are our narrators. We kind of get, okay, who Cass is compared to Brooke. And I love, like you said, that vantage point of us being able to see like Brooke watch Cass and
Mm-hmm.
Cass talk about Brooke. It just really creates that division between the two characters.
Yes, yes. So we moving on to chapter 3.
Yep.
And chapter 3 is where, like, for me, I was getting confused. Like, not confused into the point where I didn't understand the writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's dive into this, right?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
said that her sister Robin, right?
Yes.
She wakes up, she's thinking that I want to say she's having another nightmare. Was she having another
Mm-hmm.
nightmare? And
Yeah.
her husband woke her up.
Yep.
Her fiance woke her up. And
Beyonce
then
now. Uh-huh.
yeah, her fiance woke up, and then it was like she was dreaming about her sister Robin. So I'm like, okay, the first chapter one, you had a dream about, you woke up to a dead body, or you had a dead body sitting next to you, and now you telling us your sister, you dreaming about your sister being dead, Robin. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Please don't tell me she killed her sister. So
Yep.
I was just like, I don't know. And then she tells her sister is buried in New York, upstate New York, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why does she leave New York? She had to leave to do something. So this
Yeah.
is kind of throwing me for a wrench. It kind of make you just want to keep on continuously reading it. The author just got getting you so pumped up, so excited. And then there's some other stuff that happened in chapter 3, but I'll let you go ahead and explain some more.
Yes. So one of the things that I found, give me just a second, I'm looking for the part.
You good?
What I found interesting about chapter 3 was, again, the introduction to Robin. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, we know she's done something. We know she's done something with blood, but I'm like, Cass seems so sweet. Like, she doesn't
Right.
seem aggressive. But just like you said, I'm like, did she kill her sister? And I thought it was really interesting that the girl, Lucy Dupin, which I
Mm-hmm.
feel like because this girl looks like her sister, she's probably going to be important because the first thing she said when she seen this girl was Robin.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really crazy that this girl looks like her sister. And in my head, I'm thinking, is it secretly her sister? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Like,
did her sister change? It's been
mm-hmm.
some time. Like, could it secretly be her sister? And of course, she explains later, okay, now I see the differences. But that immediate visceral response to she looks at her, she couldn't even talk for a minute because she's like, it's my
Yeah.
sister. You know what I mean? And I was like, I feel like that has to be important because why was it so like, it's her sister, it's her sister? And I was just thinking her sister. I'm like, she didn't what her sister, you know what I mean? So that really, it was really sucking me in because I feel like this Lucy character is going to be important. The fact that she looks like her sister, I feel like it has to come into play. It's just something about it that just triggered my mind. Like, pay
Right.
attention. Yes.
Nah,
Yep.
I definitely agree. And I was sitting there like, all right, so it's not her sister, but why she keep having flashbacks of her sister? Normally you would have flashbacks of the person that you killed,
Yep.
unless you found your sister dead and then you took care of business, or
Exactly.
you stood on business, but your sister was still dead. So at that point, it's like I'm invested, and I think that that's what the author wants us to do. Like with everything that's going on within the first 3 chapters that we learn, and it's still something that happened with when Ariel, where she's actually warned. But
Oh
we'll
my
get into
gosh.
that. But
Yes.
it's just like the author is like these first 2 chapters is real intense.
Yes.
While it's not a lot of action or suspense, it's mystery. Like why? And
Mystery.
it makes you keep going. Why? So she's warned. She's at, and then
Warned.
okay. So it's 2 things I want to ask you, right?
Mm-hmm.
These they call them backpackers. I
Yes.
was like, what the hell is a so is backpackers a term for Americans?
I don't know if it's a term for Americans, but I think it's a term for those people. You know, there's people who they carry like everything in their book pack and they just backpack across countries. Like
And
I've
that's what I
heard
was
of
thinking.
people
Okay,
doing that.
okay,
You know, but I don't think it necessarily has to be an American. They probably mostly are American because most of these cities and they're really, really connected. And
right,
maybe the people who live there may not necessarily go backpacking through because they already live there. But
right,
I don't think it's a term specifically for Americans, but I think that's what it means.
okay. And then I'm saying Cass works at. She's a diving instructor, right?
She's a diving
Now,
instructor.
I was like, okay, does she work at a dive bar where it's like a bar slash diving school? Is the bar connected to the diving school? Because we'll see later on that she meets a group of people. But I was just asking, like, is it to me? Was I tripping? Is she or is she just a diving instructor that's separate from the bar where she's actually at right now?
A little unclear on that. I'm gonna be honest because there were points where I thought that they were connected because of the ease at her getting to the bar. You know
Right,
what I mean? Like
right,
she would leave the dive place and then go straight to the bar. But I think that they are separate. It's just all of these things are on the resort, which
right.
she mentions
Okay.
Frederick owns. Which
Yes.
we have, I don't think we've seen him, but she said
Not yet.
Frederick owns the resort. So it made me think this is a resort in Thailand that has all these different
Right.
attractions. So all live on the resort. So I think that's the way it is, like geographically.
Okay, because I was thinking like, us as book readers, we kind of have to picture the scenario.
We
So I'm
have to
picturing
picture
like
it.
the TP with like the bar. I forgetting Sarah Marshall, right?
Yes,
Like
I know
that
what you're
movie,
talking about.
like that's what I'm envisioning, like the dive bar where the dude worked at, and then you walk on, and then the beach is right there, and all the stuff for materials and everything is there. So that's what I was kind of envisioning when I was reading it. But while she's at the bar, right? She runs. This is where kind of like business is picking up. She
Yep,
runs into Ariel, who is
yep,
the husband of Tamar, right?
yep.
And Ariel says something. Ariel says something, and he says, "You are basically telling her that she's in danger, right?"
She's in danger. Yep.
But I'm gonna give it to you. Why did Tamar rush over there to kind of like brush that off?
Yeah, I was so confused about that. I was like, where was you, first of all? Like your crazy husband walking around grabbing people and telling them that they're in danger. But she rushed over, like, I am so, so sorry. So, and it just, I didn't know why he would say that. You know, I'm like, is the book got some kind of mysticism, some kind of magic in it? Because
Mm-hmm.
how could he know that she's in danger? And he just got this look like everything was fine. I mean, he was weird from the beginning. Like, even when
Right,
she introduced him, you know, Tamar's like, oh yeah, this is my husband. And he's just kind of looking around. And I
right.
immediately was just like, okay, that's weird. But now he's grabbing her and he's telling her, you are in danger. I'm like, how would he know that? Is he from America? Does he know the person who's messing with her? Does Tamar
Right.
know? Because from all we know, these are tourists just coming for a scuba diving class. So who is he really?
And this is why I'm lost. Like you say, it's like who is this dude, and how would he even know that she's in danger? He don't know
How
about her
he
past, right?
he didn't see the note. He
He
just
didn't
met
see
her that
anything.
day from what we know. You know what I mean? They just met. So how
Unless,
would he know?
because remember, they work at the bar. So
They
what I'm
work at the
thinking
bar.
is maybe they overheard somebody talking, but that would be the only thing that I could think of. He overheard something, because he's
Yep.
like the guy who is not, nobody pays attention to him. He's like the slow kind of person that's not
Uh-huh.
really all the way there yet.
Yeah.
So he's just working and he probably overheard something and he knows her. So I'm thinking it has to be something like that, unless, but see, with these mysteries, who knows who's the killer?
Who
You
knows?
know,
But I think that you're onto something. That makes sense because if he heard something, I don't want to say he's taking a liking to her, but he could have heard something and he's just trying to warn her. They're finally alone.
right.
Nobody else is around and he can warn her. But that makes me think, why did Tamar come and
Run
like
over there. What was the
run
point of
over
her
there?
running over there?
Because I feel like she seems like his handler almost, talking for
Yo,
him, doing stuff for
facts.
him. So it's just like if he heard something, she would know something. And if she knew something, why would she not want Cass to know as well? Why would she be
Exactly.
stopping him from telling her you're in danger? Yep.
Exactly. And that
And
was
I
kind
just
of like that was
yeah.
like mind blowing to me. And I was just like, okay, we got another wrench in the story, right?
Yes,
So
but I think it's good. She is setting it up to
right.
where whatever's going to happen, I feel like we're going to have many different suspects. And I love that in mystery
Yeah.
books. I
Yeah.
hate when it's so obvious who the person is, who the bad person is. Now I'm just like, something's going on with Brooke. Cass
Mm-hmm.
and Dustin, you know what I mean? Now Ariel is coming in and telling her you're in danger. So that's what makes me think. So is Cass the true victim? Because if she's in danger, I feel like okay. So she's the bad girl, right? She
Mm-hmm.
did it. She killed her sister. She had a sordid past. I don't feel like someone would be trying to warn her that she's in danger. Like
Right.
you know, because she's the bad person. You know, so it
That's
makes me think.
true.
Like, is she the victim really, or is she the bad person? But yeah, like you said, it's just sucking you in. I'm just like, I gotta keep
Yes.
reading.
And I can't wait till we actually get to the end. And that was
Yes.
pretty much chapter 3 in a nutshell. It was
Yep.
like I like one thing I like about this author, and this is the first time I'm reading something. What is and then now the author's name that slipped my mind because I'm so focused on chapter 4 right now.
It is Sara Ochs.
Okay.
Ochs. Yep.
So this is
Or
my
I.
first read by Sara Ochs. And
Same.
this is like my first mystery, and you
Mm-hmm.
put me on to it when you said let's review this book, and so
Yep.
far I'm locked in. I ain't even
I
gonna
will
lie to
say
you.
too, it is a book of the month book, and I've unsubscribed from the service because I buy so many books anyway, and
Hmm.
I was like, I don't need to keep buying it every month. But I will tell you, every single book that I've got from Book of the Month has been really good, especially in the beginning. It literally hooks you in, it draws you in. You don't know what's gonna happen, and that's what I want in my mystery. I want
Right.
to be confused. You know what I mean? I
Right.
want to feel like what's going on because it's a mystery. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be unknown. It's not supposed to just be obvious and laid
Right.
out. So she's already. It's only the third chapter in, and she's already just what's happening. We don't know.
Right. And a mystery is supposed to have you on the edge of your seat. You ain't supposed to get the answers in the beginning. Every
You're
chapter,
not
you're supposed
supposed
to be like,
to.
oh, he did it. Oh, she did it. And then at the end, you like, what the just happened? You know what I mean? So like that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for your big WTF moment. Or even
Yes.
in between that, you're trying to be Sherlock Holmes yourself. And that kind of it's like a whole outer experience. You're a detective reading a book. You're trying to solve the
Yes.
case. And I think that
Yes.
that's something that movies don't give us, right? Movies, we
Yep.
kind of just watch the guy go through it. No, we're reading we're the detective. We
We're
reading
reading
the
the hint,
book. Yes,
literally,
we're
and
trying to
trying
solve
to
the
figure
case.
out
Yeah, right. So
exactly.
we're the detectives, and
That is such a good way to
that's
put
what
it.
books do to us. And that's one of the things that I really do like about reading these style of books. Or this is my first mystery, but the same thing with thrillers, trying to figure out who's the killer. But we going into chapter 4, which is like I think the mood setter. It's the one. It's the big one right there. So
Yep.
Cass, she is questioned by a female, Lucy. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead because I got some thoughts about
We're on
that too.
chapter 4.
That's chapter 4. Or is it chapter 4? Yeah, chapter 4. No, it's not Cass. Brooke. Is it Brooke or Cass?
Brooke is
Brooke.
chapter 4.
Yeah. So Brooke.
Yes.
Sorry,
So
Brooke is questioned.
yes, she is questioned. So that's why I said that girl from the beginning that made eye contact with her, that was important. In this book, her and Brooke finally have a conversation. And she
Mm-hmm.
comes up to her and she's like, hey, you've been here a couple weeks, right? And Brooke's like, sure. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? This is obviously not just a fan. This is something else. Because she's
Right.
like, you've been here 2 weeks. And then the girl nods and she says, so you weren't here when that woman fell from Krum Yai then?
Mm-hmm.
And just to recap, there was a woman. Her name was Jacinta.
Jacinta. I said Lucy. And I knew I
Jacinta.
was tripping because I got it right here.
Yep.
Jacinta. Okay, not Lucy.
Jacinta
Jacinta.
Yep, Jacinta was a tourist. She lived on the island for a little bit. And the story is, this is where I'm putting quotes. The story is she went out one morning really, really early for a light jog on this mountain. Incidentally, I think this is the same mountain, Krum Yai, that Brooke and Cass took a picture on. So I hooked
Something
that.
is up, man.
I was like,
Something is
something's
up.
up.
Something is up.
Jacinta goes on this mountain, and I guess because of low visibility, she trips, falls off the cliff, and she unfortunately
Low
dies.
visibility, really?
Low visibility.
Come on.
So of course this girl is asking her, so you were here before that happens? Cass is like, yes. And then the girl asks her, we go to it.
Oh, take your time. We good. We here.
I thought she asked her, she said, so you weren't here. I was looking for the quote. Anyway, she says, Brooke explains, I didn't know her. I was here after that. I have no idea who she is.
That happened 2 weeks
Girl,
before.
yeah, this happened 2 weeks before I even got here. Then the girl says, I know this is a lot, and I know you don't know me, but I don't think her death was an accident. I think there's more to cut off. I love when authors do this, right when it gets juicy and it's like cut off.
Yep.
And you know who she's interrupted by? She's interrupted by, I think his name is Daniel.
Is it Daniel or Doug?
Dave?
Because I want to say Doug came in. It says, from what I got here, it says Cassie, she's thrown off by the questions, right? And then she meets up
Brooke
with
is thrown off by the
Brooke
questions.
is thrown off by the questions, right? And this is where this where she kind of talks about Doug. And she was talking about who is another diving instructor, a white guy with dread, or a Caucasian man with dreads, who looks like his nose has been broken 1,000 times because he was a rugby.
So that's Daniel. I keep getting Daniel and Doug mixed up because
is that Daniel?
They're both the same. Doug is the one at the dive bar.
Yeah, Doug is the one. He's not he's the diving instructor, right?
He's the diving instructor, but I thought Daniel is the one that pulls her away here. He said
Daniel pulled, or is it that Neil? Because this is Brooke, so Brooke is with Neil, right?
I'm at the part. We don't know that that's his name yet. That's what it is.
So we out here just spoiling.
So that's why I was just like,
we out here just spoiling.
Where's the guy's name? Because I'm like, I know who this is, but I'm like, where did they? So just edit that part out. Anyway, she asked her.
I got you.
Brooke expressed, I don't know who she is. The girl asked her, hey, can you help me?
Right.
And this is a weird thing because what does the girl mean? Can you help me? What would Brooke know?
Right.
If she just got to this island in Thailand?
And why is she pressing her about this whole death? Like, what does
that's what
she have to do with anything?
Is Brooke like a secret police officer? We have had nothing else in the book that indicates she is someone that anybody could go to and like, hey, I need help with this random woman who died 2 weeks ago who fell off a cliff. You know what I mean? I was so perplexed. Like, why her? Why not Cass? Cass has obviously been there longer. She's the dive instructor. So it was weird that she went specifically to Brooke. But I was thinking maybe it's because she knows that Brooke has a social media following.
Right.
And people who have social media followings, they can
put stuff out there and use their influence to get the story rolling. Because she also says that, the locals, they're not going to really put it out there like that. It's kind of like it was a local thing and they're not really connected to the outside world like that. It's kind of going to stay in-house and really just go unnoticed. So she reaching out to her because she knows she got a platform and maybe she can start to get the ball rolling with the story going. So that's
like, what I was thinking. But it was weird that she asked her though first, hey, like how long have you been here? Because I was thinking it really wouldn't matter how long she's been there if she's a social media influencer. You know what I mean? Like, who cares how long she's been there? Why was it important that she was or wasn't there when the incident happened? So that was something that I was like, okay, keep that in my brain. But either way, Brooke does not get to finish the conversation with the girl because she is interrupted. There's a guy comes, he got face paint all over him. And he's like, Lucy, I'm taking you out to party no matter what. And then he looks Brooke up and down like, okay, girl, you can get it too. And then they quickly go away. Brooke is left wondering, why did this girl come up to me? What was the point of this? Like, what is going on? Like, I heard about what happened, but how am I supposed to help? Which I was like, I thought the same thing. What are you supposed to do? You haven't even been there that long. I don't understand, like, why the girl went up to her, who the girl is.
Right.
Seems like she knows more than she's letting on because I thought she was just there for a diving class.
Exactly.
And now she's trying to investigate someone who fell off a cliff. You know what I mean?
What does that have to do with the story?
Yeah, some of the pieces is getting mixed around, but some stuff is connected. The fact that mountain that Jacinta died on is the same mountain that Brooke and Cass took a picture on. I'm like, why is that?
And this
means something.
She's just leaving us off with tidbits every chapter, having us like she just feeding us like just a little bit at a time. And I'm like, yo, sis, you got to give us something more. Like I need more.
Gotta give us something.
I need more concrete evidence.
Cliffhangers.
Every chapter is a cliffhanger. It takes you into the next chapter. So we move on to chapter 5, and it's like chapter 5 is like it's the stage. It's the
It's the
stage.
stage.
And I'm
Yep,
glad you
she's
went
been
to
setting
5.
these details,
Yeah.
and chapter 5 happens, and yes, I would love to hear what you think. Come on, give it to us.
Without going to the end of chapter 5, because that's where I really want
Hmm.
to go to. But
Yeah,
but they always like they're in the group setting doing the engagement party. She's talking about then we meet. This is where we meet the Greta, and what's her name?
Greta.
Greta.
Yep.
We meet
Hmm.
Greta, who kind of shades Brooke, because she's not really one of them.
Hmm.
She's the new person that came into it. So they're at this engagement party. Obviously, Cass can't focus because she thinks somebody is like legit watching her,
Watching
so she
her.
can't enjoy her party. And I like the fact that Brooke is noticing. She's
Yep.
going to notice that she's not enjoying. And I like the point of view. It's like we see Cat, we hear Cass talking, and then we're gonna see Brooke kind of like know that something is going on with this girl, and it ain't right. Like she should be happy.
Yes.
We get a speech by Greta, and she's saying that Cass is the rock of the group. She's like the foundation. She kind of has this whole crying spill, and I'm
Hmm.
like, this is where people kind of get me, man. I don't really believe that Greta is really locked in like that. Like I feel like she's just there, and we get to meet the other guys, and everybody's kind of like a big family. It's like a big American family. Like these are the
Yep.
people who migrated over there, and they kind of clung to each other. And that was just like and then we obviously, I ain't gonna get to the end because I'm gonna ask you, what you thought about it. And then we have the issue with, well, no, that was moving on. That was from yeah.
This
So
is chapter 4
that's
that you're
chapter
talking
4 that
about.
I'm talking about.
Yep.
Sorry. So that's the end, like going towards the end of chapter 4. And then when we wake up we get back into Cass, and she's talking about, what is it? Is it Brooke? Am I tripping? Because I want to say it was Cass that we going into chapter 5 with now.
Cass is chapter
So
5, Brooke is chapter 4. I want to comment too. I felt like chapter 4, I really liked it because it did show how much of an outsider Brooke is. Like
mhm,
maybe she's a social media influencer and she's really popular. But in real life with people, there's this group of people, they're like the only Americans. They've
mhm.
joined this group. They call themselves the
The
Permanents, which I thought
permanence, yes.
and she is the only one on the outside.
Right.
And she talks about how Cass has tried to bring her in. She's tried to connect her with Neil. But you can see Logan has some hesitance when he's interacting with her.
Mhm.
Greta obviously does not like her either. And
Mhm.
I just thought that was like, y'all the only Americans. What
Well, yeah.
about Brooke is causing them to be like, whoa, you know what I mean? I will say I also loved seeing Cass and Logan like be in love. And
Mhm.
I love Brooke commenting on it that she could feel the love between them. Because that was something that caused me to question. Like you said, forever us two. What if that doesn't actually mean forever? So Brooke commenting on the fact that she could see how in love they were. I thought that was really sweet. It was a really sweet moment. We haven't really seen them be too affectionate. We haven't really seen too many displays of their relationship before they got engaged. We just see them right as they're engaged. So I love that we got to see that they actually are in love. They love each other.
Right. But then, man, it's something that she said. It's something that Cass said about and I'm gonna get to it, but it was
Mm-hmm.
something. But I also got the permanent as a group, and her name is at Brooker Trip, is always
Yes.
there.
I thought that was so cute.
Yeah, at Brooker Trip is fire. I felt like the
It's
author nailed
fire.
it with that one. That was
Yes.
like one of the jumps that I was like, yeah. But it was something that Cass said about getting over on people, and that she would do something and she would always get over on people. She kind of made a statement, and I was like,
She did. I know what you're
okay,
talking
and
about.
she would do anything to get over on anyone so she can survive. That's what she
Yes.
said. And that was the
Yes.
quote that I wanted to go back into. And I was like, you're gonna do anything, you're about to get married, and you telling you'll get over and do anything on anyone just to survive? Like,
Yes.
cool, this is what we're doing now. So I did miss that as well. But like you say, we're going back into chapter 5, and she can't function. Cass can't function right now because she felt like she know that she's being watched, and then she said that Brooke is watching her, knowing that she's not fine, because Cass can feel, obviously, because Cass feel like somebody is watching her. Even when they was doing the toast, and she was
Yes.
looking at it like, yo, is this poison? Like that's how I felt.
Yes.
She was looking at it like,
Yes.
yo, is this poison? I don't really want
Yes.
to
Because the
drink
way
that.
she took the bottle was
Mm-hmm.
like, it was a moment. Even Brooke even realized that. She was like, whoa. And then the weirdness passed. But, like it
Everybody
seemed
was
like
like,
that's how she was looking like, can I
mm-hmm.
trust this? Because
Yeah,
somebody's obviously
somebody
after
after
me.
me.
You know what I mean?
Are they
Yep.
watching me? Like
Are
she
they
thinks
watching
somebody's
me?
watching her this whole time. And I'm like, okay. All right, so you setting it up for real, and then we get another Ariel interaction
Yep.
in chapter 5. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing I want to ask you is her drug problem.
Yep.
What did you?
I,
Go ahead.
I was kind of upset a little bit actually at the way the author displayed her using Xanax,
Mm-hmm.
because the fact that she made it seem like it was a drug problem. People with anxiety use Xanax. You know what I mean? People with other mental health disorders use Xanax. Like, and the way she described it is, she said, "I've barely even made it 2 weeks without one." And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, Xanax is not something that you have to like, oh, I can't take it. The
Mm-hmm.
doctors prescribe it to you so
Right.
that you can't use it in times of anxiousness. So I didn't understand her guilt and feel like she had to hide it. You know, I feel like it was stigmatizing mental health or anxiety, you know, because she was
Right.
really feeling guilty, like, oh, I was dealing with a situation, I had to go get some more. I'm like, baby, that's what it's for. Like, it's
Right.
Xanax, you know?
Especially
And
after the night you had, right?
after the night you had, you know what I mean? You were stressed, somebody's following you. It makes sense that you would want to take a chill pill. That's literally, I
Yeah.
had a friend who she used to take Xanax, and that's what she calls it. I need to go take my chill pill because that's what it chills you down, you
Right.
know? So when I read it, it was like the author was trying really, really hard to make it a problem, but I didn't see a problem in her using it. But I did notice that she's introducing a new element to the story of the unreliable narrator, because now Cass is taking Xanax, she's mixing it with this alcohol, and now
Mm-hmm.
her memory is wiped. So now it's like we can't really trust her version of events because she's taking the Xanax, she's drinking. Now her whole perspective is going to be riddled with holes because she doesn't remember
Right.
what happened.
And I'm thinking health, bipolar.
Yep.
Was
Bipolar.
she bipolar? Did she snap and kill her sister? Because maybe her and her sister got into it about certain things. The
Exactly.
the statement that she made, she's gonna survive. Will she wind up turning on her husband when somebody, if he finds out what's happening? Because she said it. She's like, if my husband finds out, then he's gonna probably think I'm a monster. So like all of these mantras that she's saying, these little side conversations, these little like to herself, I'm like, okay, the author's building up with something regular.
Yeah. And the fact that she's hiding the medication,
Yes.
it makes it seem like the reason that she's taking it is something bad, you know, and not
Mm-hmm.
that someone having bipolar disorder is bad, but it's a device people use in many books where the characters will hide that fact because they know, like,
Right.
you know, I don't want my partner to think I'm crazy, you know what I mean? But it's just the fact that she's hiding even the fact that she's taking anxiety medication. It's like, what did you do to be prescribed this? And I will say this was another thing that caused me to pause. When she's talking about going and getting the Xanax, she said, 3 weeks ago, I found myself picking up the familiar box from the Cumvit pharmacy that sells prescription meds by the truckload. And I was just thinking, but you can't just get Xanax. It has to be prescribed. You can't just walk into a
Where you
pharmacy and buy
getting
it.
these Xanax pills
Where
from?
are you getting these Xanax? She said she
Where?
just went to the pharmacy. So I didn't know if that was a plot hole or if this is like, it's Thailand. It's different from America. Maybe they
Right.
don't have the restrictions. But I wish you would have made that clear, because you cannot just go and get Xanax.
It's not something that's easily attainable.
No.
Right.
So that was one thing that was just like, she
Okay.
just went and bought it. It was something that caused me to pause. It took me out of the story a little bit because I'm like, you can't just buy Xanax. I'm like,
But I
wait a minute,
guess for the
what?
sake of the book, I guess for the sake of the book, she had to throw that in there, and hopefully nobody
Yeah,
won't dissect it like that. It's like, oh, she got a drug problem, and we'll
exactly.
gloss over it like
Yeah.
that. But not here. Not here at
Yes.
we'll name this podcast later.
Yes.
So then we go. Cass is going about a day. She has another interaction with Ariel where they're kind of acting weird, her and Tamar, and they're
Yep.
kind of like
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like one of those awkward moments. I'm sorry about my
Mm-hmm.
husband and what he just be kind of doing too much. But it's like he
Right.
ain't doing too much because you don't. That's not doing too much. If I come up to you and I
Right.
tell you
He
you're
literally
not
told me I
saved,
wasn't.
that's not
Like,
doing too much,
actually,
bro.
thank you to your
Yeah,
husband
thank
and
you.
talk to him and figure out why he said that. She let it go too easily, because for me, I would have wanted to have another conversation. Like, okay, yeah, thank you. Excuse me, sir. What did you mean when you said I
Right.
wasn't safe?
Let me
Like,
talk.
'cause
Let me
somebody is
talk.
watching me.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
yeah.
Who is watching me at that point?
Who is
Who is
watching me?
watching me?
Exactly.
But then coming towards the end now, where the big one is gonna big, powwow is gonna be released. They're going into she's getting everybody ready, the class ready to kind of get out there into the ocean to kind of get their diving lesson for the first time. And she's setting everything up. So they go out
Mm-hmm.
into the ocean, right? Long story short, they go out into the ocean and she's kind of explaining to them, the rules and regulations of diving. And they go down as they going further, they kind of release down to the bottom of the ocean, and then she starts to see that people is kind of looking a little frantic. People are doing too
Mm-hmm.
much. She's starting to see air bubbles pop away and everything like that. She's looking and like, what's happening? And I'll let you go ahead and bring it home.
yeah. So she's like everything is calm, and what I love that this author does is she literally puts the calm before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
She leads us into thinking this is just a normal scuba diving trip. She's just taking them down there. I will say something was different about this trip though. There's one person who was not there when they first started the trip.
That's why I want to
There's
see the
one person.
book.
Yep, there's one person. Cass is getting everything set up. Like, all right, but I'm missing somebody. Who's missing?
We can say the name.
Lucy.
There you go.
Lucy's missing. Lucy's missing. And we remember who Lucy was, right? I'll let you tell us. Who is Lucy, Jay? Who is Lucy?
Isn't that the one that came up to her?
Exactly.
That's the one that came up to Brooke.
That went up to Brooke.
And was talking about the mountain girl.
That was talking about the mountain girl.
Right.
And coincidentally, here it is, time for the scuba diving lesson. Lucy is nowhere to be found.
Right.
Cass is like, hey, we can wait a little bit. She don't even like waiting for people. And I feel like part of this is that Lucy reminds her of her sister. She's
she
like,
mentioned that.
You know, she has guilt over whatever happened with her sister. She doesn't want to leave Lucy behind. Where is Lucy? Can somebody call her? She's calling her. No answer. The show must go on. They dive down. They're having fun looking at the little fishies. Yay. But then one of the dive people, it bubbles. He gets shocked. He turns around. He immediately floats up to the top, which she told him do not do. She's like, what the heck? She turns around and she immediately feels like, but why would Robin, her sister, be down here in the ocean? We got to remember who reminded her of Robin? Lucy. And that is how chapter 5 ends. Lucy is found dead at the bottom of the ocean. And the author leaves us also with a little nugget. There's something laying next to Lucy's body, right? So Cass sees her body. She's immediately afraid. But then she sees something glinting in the sand next to the body, and she picks it up, and that is what causes her to black out or to fade. Whatever it is that she picks up, and my mind is like, what is it? Because it can't be something regular. Like, is it a knife? Is it a gun? Is it a weapon? Is it a news article like kind of smeared that has her name on it? Did Lucy know who she was? My mind is everywhere. What was it that she find?
Did she uncover the truth, and the truth got her killed before she can go to anybody? And I'm like, somebody took Lucy out. Obviously, she's dead. Somebody took her out. But it has to be somebody close to the situation who realizes that would have jeopardized the group.
Yes.
That would have jeopardized the group, and they couldn't have it. But we don't know who. And this is where this is why this book is going to be interesting as we cover it throughout all of these chapters. And man, I'm excited.
I'm excited
that you picked this book because Brooke has something to hide, Cass has something to hide, but I don't feel like they're the only ones who have anything to hide.
I don't either. I feel like we haven't uncovered the rest of the people's story, but think about this. 2 of the characters escaped to Thailand, you know, this place with no extradition, you know what I mean? When they could be back at home in the U.S. You know what I mean? That says something. Everybody's hiding something. And then you got this close-knit group of people that called the Permanents. They're very close-knit. They don't allow outsiders. You know what I mean? Even another American. Why not? And then I keep thinking, who would have even had the motive to kill Lucy? We don't really know that much about her other than she's investigating some random woman's death.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't even know how that woman's death is connected to, or if it is connected to anybody. We know no clues. We just know she went hiking by herself, evidently, fell off a cliff. What Lucy was investigating, she involved Brooke, and now she's dead. And it made me think the guy who came with all the paint over him, you know what I mean? That was my first thought. I'm like, he's the only one that's seen Lucy talking to Brooke.
Right.
You know what I mean? And maybe he overheard what she was saying, but I don't know. It just, when it ended there, I was like, who would have even had the motive to kill her? I don't know yet. I have no idea. And that's the mystery of it. I don't know yet.
And we'll figure it out.
There was an amazing end to the first 5 chapters. Yep, she really sucked you in. Yep. And she laid the clues. And another thing I really love, she ends each chapter on this really explosive cliffhanger. So it's like you can't help but to keep reading. It doesn't just end. It's like something devastating happened or a revelation happens. And it's like, oh my God, I got to keep reading. You know what I mean?
Lucy's dead. Oh no, I got to see what happened. How is Cass? Exactly. How's Cass going to respond? How is Brooke going to respond? How is everybody's going to respond? Because we have our first death on the island. We have our first death in Kosane. Right?
Yep.
So now it's going to start setting everything up. Everybody's a suspect.
And that's the thing. Everybody is a suspect.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yep.
Every single body, because we don't know who right now. We have no clues.
And then now we have Cass's point of view. We have Brooke's point of view. But now we got to have Lucy's point of view because who killed Lucy?
Yep.
You got to come up and let us know Who Killed Lucy, right? So it's just
Yep.
murder, death, mystery, love, crimes
Thriller,
of
love.
passion. Let's see
Yes.
how it all unveils. But these was the first 5 chapters, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're reading along with us, we're gonna be coming with chapters 6 through 10 later on this week. And
Yep.
I'm just excited that we got this book rolling. We got the podcast rolling. I'm happy that I have my new co-host with me. And, Kiara, I thank you, for joining me and helping me kind of get this on the road. So yeah, man, we'll be back. We'll be back when we'll have our dates, we'll have our schedules, and we'll be doing some other things too. Kiara has a lot of insight on how to just spice everything up. And
Yes.
I
I'm
can't
so
wait
excited.
till y'all hear like a lot of her ideas, a lot of the things that she's going to be bringing, a fresh new voice and everything. As y'all can see, she's very passionate about her reading, very passionate about her books. And that's what we have here at the We'll Name This Podcast Later. We'll Name This Book Podcast Later. And
Yes.
anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Of course, I want to say thank you, of course, to Jay. He is been so kind to me, welcoming me in, and I'm just very, very excited. I have so many great ideas. I love to talk books, and I'm just so excited to share that with everybody else. And I really hope that you guys will be reading along. Again, we are reading The Resort, and we got chapters 6 through 10 coming later this week. So please stay tuned.
Yes. All right, y'all. I am the seer. She's the reader, and we are out.